Madolche, Burning Abyss, and even Eldlich? You guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So we actually have a working Genesys list out of this weekend's YCS. And honestly, I am pretty intrigued with this because I think a lot of people just kind of looked at Madolche and just kind of washed their hands with it. And they've said that, you know, this isn't necessarily going to be a deck that's going to stick around. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think the fact that Madolche has actually felt like such a strong contender for a lot of this meta, you need to look at this. Now, obviously, one of the key cards that's very unrestricted that you're allowed to abuse in Genesys format is just the Herald of the Orange Light. Konami likes these cards that do take like 2-for-1 commitments. They don't necessarily end up being very pointed, very powerfully. But I do think that this is definitely the level of good stuff. Now, obviously, Madolche combo aside, I mean, you don't have the Link monster, but you do have access to the Tiara Frage here, which, for everything that I have seen and everything I know about the way that this deck plays, this card is going to be a very, very broken thing. Also, yes, we do have the Small World to bridge into combo. Yes, we do have Extra. You are a deck that does rely on its Extra deck, but as long as you don't hit every Tiara Frage and every, you know, component that you have to play, you should be able to set up a pretty easy board. And also, this deck is playing a Kaiju, which I find particularly interesting, but it does work out because, you know, it is a dark monster. I think that that's actually one of those very, very interesting little tools here. But outside of that, Vernal Sith stuff just allows you actually mad access to all the little extra combo pieces. I think ratios are fine for everything else presented in this. Actually looks like a pretty good time to be a Madolche player for Genesys. Oh, well, if it isn't the Mutiny in the Sky. I see that this duelist actually tried to make Burning Abyss work, and for that, I'm going to clap. Now, Trap BA is what we would consider probably one of the more classic builds when it comes to looking at Burning Abyss, because, I mean, your whole goal is get Dante established on the field, which, by the way, is one of the best cards that you could hope to get into. And then, you know, just kind of rely on the Burning Abyss recurability to do the thing. Now, obviously, I understand that, you know, these guys have the need to be able to special summon themselves if you control no back row, but that's not really what we care about. It's just we can very easily work around that. That's what Tour Guide's for, right? Tour Guide is going to bring out those Burning Abyss monsters, and you'll be able to do your thing. But I do truly think where things get very, very powerful is the minute I am able to get to the Dusk Light, or the Dusk Dark here, through the Mutiny in the Sky, things are going to start to spin around pretty quickly. Now, obviously, we do have Triple Booyo here, which should be getting us very quick access to some of the key stuff. And also, I mean, getting your left and right effects our monsters protected so they actually don't blow up, I think is one of the most crazy effects that they have made for Burning Abyss. Obviously, in like the modern sets of modern times, I mean, this isn't going to be the greatest thing in the world, but in terms of what Genesys format is able to provide to the player base, I think that this is the perfect example of, hey, we have the tools. We can actually cook up something decent and playable. I also do see that this list is playing the Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch as well. So, okay, this looks like a pretty good list. So good stuff to seeing, you know, BA do its job. Oh, well, there it is, everybody. There's the golden chicken nugget having to come out into Genesys format and has to ruin somebody's day out here. Now, the problem with Eldlich in this format is he's just slow. He's clunky. He has to go first, or he's just going to kind of have a bad time. And that's like my only major, I guess, downside to playing Eldlich. As much as I love this deck, it's slow. Now, I do see We are playing the Starry Dragon cycle down here, which is what? Target a fusion, Synchro, Exceed, or Link monster on the field, returning that face-up monster to the extra deck. Then based on that card type, so similarly appropriate from either graveyard, so to your field. So fusion monster, same attribute. Synchro monster with the lower level. Exceed monster with the same level as its rank. Or obviously links don't exist within this format, but I can use the Starry Night cycle here, depending on the matchup, to jack something from the opponent's graveyard. Suddenly, this is kind of looking a little bit better as an option. Also, the fact that Solemn Judgment is so cheap within this format, I think is crazy. Also, you mean to tell me that I can get away with playing Starlight Road in this format? I would assume that depending on the home brews or depending on the meta of your local Genesys players, that, you know, something like Starlight Road might be very, very strong, or it could just be one of the worst combination cards that you could be slapping on the table and trying to make work. Either way, though, I think that there's something to this list. This looks absolutely hilarious. Next up here. Oh, well, you know, this is ironic because we just got all that brand new Jack Atlas stuff the other day. And then here I am coming into Genesys format here and seeing, oh, loop-de-doo-de-doo-de-doo. We have some, you know, Archfiend good stuff here. Now, the only real pointed cards within the extra deck that are going to cost you money are going to be Peter and, of course, the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend itself. Now, Hot Red is one of those interesting little cards because I think players tend to forget how really good this card is. Like, it actually promotes some very, very destructive things. I mean, yes, it is a targeting negate, which is a little bit different than, you know, a lot of the other effects we've seen floating around, but I do think that this is going to be something you might want to have just to kind of think about the future here. Obviously, the rest of the tools that you've got going down here are going to be pretty strong. Now, you do see point dedications here within the Moonlit Chills, the Ghost Ogres. You also have the Mulch Army Fuas to bring in here. And of course, Nibiru's. I think this is one of the few decks that you could pretty competently be able to kind of slot in all of this extra good stuff and kind of have it work out for you, at least in terms of the deck building space. So it's actually really cool. I mean, the cool thing about Jack Atlas as a whole is you have so many different Red Dragon Archfiend forms that you can just kind of slap on the table and it all just kind of pulls itself together. Like, it just depends on the toolbox stuff that you yourself are going to want to explore. And I mean, I think there is a lot to look at. And then we have, purely Runick. God, man, it impresses me that every time I turn around into these sorts of events, that suddenly, you know, somebody's cooking up, you know, this new Runick innovation. It's like, oh, hey, you know, hey, come here. We can, this week we can play this with Runick, and it actually works out. I mean, yes, we can, but like, there's gotta be a level of, you know, some kind of counterplay. Now, obviously, in Genesys format, you are not going to get, you know, kind of the stupid good value because you don't have the spells or the monsters to, because no extra monster zone. So obviously, you know, we just maximize Fountain, kind of go to town. Now, Runick does have problems because, one, you're just kind of, instead of playing this with Radiant Typhoon, which has the consistency and the quick play generation, which I'm honestly kind of surprised that this deck's not playing the Radiant Typhoon stuff in it as well, because you have so many quick plays in here. Why not trade in one of those quick plays to possibly get you the draw too? I think that's one thing that I would honestly be looking at with this list would be, I would want to try to trade in and get some quicker access to those better cards, because it feels very lacking to not have the tools like that to be able to speed up things here. So honestly, Genesys has got some interesting little things happening right now. I'm kind of all about it. So please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.